In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. A very good evening to one and all present here. I welcome you all for this wonderful session, a webinar on opportunities in medical device and development. Now, let me introduce our today's chief guest. He is a mechanical engineer currently working as a senior consultant in life sciences vertical of the company Atos Syntel, Chennai. Having 20 plus years experience in product design and development, in that especially more than 15 years of experience in medical devices design and development field. Also, he worked in class 2, class 3 devices like defibrillators, patient monitoring system, infusion pumps, endosurgical devices, blood glucose device monitor, peritoneal dialysis machine, peripheral IV catheters, and worked directly in on-site with core R&D team in USA, Europe, and Asian countries. So we are glad to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Ramasamy Lakshmanan sir. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. So wake up, it's time to listen to his webinar. Here we go. I request our chief guest, Mr. Ramasamy Lakshmanan sir, to take over the session.
Hi Dhanam, thanks for your wonderful introduction. Yeah. So, share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So hi all. I'm Ramasamy Lakshmanan. I'm a mechanical engineer. I did my engineering in Alahapa College, Karaikudi. Started my career as a child toy designer. Then after some time, I went to design consumer goods in Whirlpool Technology in Pondicherry. Then I joined Caterpillar. Caterpillar is a heavy industry. Then I come into this medical devices team. You have to mute somebody.
Yes.
So I have more than 20 years of experience in design and development. In this 15 plus years in medical. Can you mute everyone? Yeah. So then I have more than 15 years of experience in medical devices. I was one of the team members when HCL Technologies started medical devices services. Now I am working with Atos Syntel. So with Atos Syntel, I worked clients like Medtronic, Cardinal, Baxter, Abbott Diabetes Care, Smiths, Philips, LifeScan, to name a few of the medical device companies. And I traveled all over the world. Like I there in US, in many cities. I stayed there and I worked with a company. Yeah. So I traveled all around the world and worked with all top medical device companies. I worked in US. I worked in Europe, like Scotland, Netherlands, and in Asian countries like Singapore, Malaysia. I worked with all the medical device companies. This is my background, and now I am with Atos Syntel, taking care of project delivery management for our medical device clients and operational managements. And I'm doing recruiting also for our domain, training new joiners also. So this is my background. You should know about my background so that you will know where I'm from and how much knowledge I'm having in this. So yeah, I have more than 15 years of experience. So I think I'm well qualified to walk you through this various stages of medical device and development. So, okay. Can you see my screen, full screen? I think.
Yes, sir.
So before going into the subject, I want to set the context from your college. Mr. Jiva contacted me and requested me to show me and tell about the various opportunities in medical devices design and development. So I would like to thanks Mr. Jiva and your HOD Regina Parvin Madam. So here I'm going to explain about various stages of medical device design and development. On the way, I can show you where and all you can fit yourself. Like there are many departments will be involved into the medical device development thing, like mechanical, electrical, electronics, communication, clinical, pharma, and everything. So here I'm going to walk you through first what is a medical device. All the devices are not called as medical devices. So first we are going to see what is a medical device. Then various design stages of medical device, like from concept to manufacturing, what are the various stages are there. Then facets of medical device design. Facets means what are the departments: mechanical, electrical, electronics, communication, regulatory affairs, marketing. Like what are the departments are involved in designing and developing medical devices. And then we're going to see the design control of medical devices. Medical and pharma domain is a very regulated domain. So there are a lot of regulations, standards are there to prove that this device is safe to use, because we are talking about human life. So this is a very regulated domain. So we are going to see what are the design controls and post-market surveillance. Then finally, some real-time stories with the medical device. What are the interesting things with the medical device? Which life saved? That kind of some stories I'm going to walk you through. So first, what is a medical device? Human body is a complex unit made up of hundreds of small and big parts. God created this as a very efficient and robust system, a very robust system. But we are not maintaining that properly due to some laziness or without knowledge. We are spoiling ourselves. We have to take good dietary food and all good exercises we have to do. We have to maintain our body properly. But lack of this, when it falls sick out of body parts break, wear out, or the immune system does not block an infection because of our laziness and unawareness, human-made products comes into picture for correcting the problem. But no matter what is being placed into the body, it may not as good as original what God created, which may also create an unexpected outcomes, because anyways it's not a original body part, it's artificial thing. It will not, you cannot match the artificial thing with our original God created thing. So again, I'm insisting here, we have to take care of our body properly. Now in this pandemic situation, everybody realized what is the importance of well-being. So have good dietary food and do exercises, keep your body properly. So because of this artificial body parts, it's anyways artificial, so it will create unexpected outcomes, problems and everything. So governments are there. Governments has to keep the life safe of its citizens. So they have classified these medical devices according to its risk, like class 1, class 2, class 3 of a medical device. But according to this US FDA, what is a medical device? If you read this slide, any instrument, apparatus, material used alone or in combination to diagnose anything, monitor, treat, prevent human disease or injuries. So only these specifications will match for the medical device. All other devices are not medical devices. Support or sustain human life, disinfect humans or medical instruments, devices, examine specimens taken from human bodies. So this is the definition for a medical device. Medical devices ranges from simple tongue depressors and bedpans to complex programmable pacemakers with microchip technology and laser surgical devices. It's simple as surgical gloves to a pacemaker. When your heart stops, pacemaker will come into handy to run your heart again. So according to the risk, they classified as class 1, it's a low risk device. Class 2 is a medium risk device. Class 3 is a high risk device. So class 1, there is lowest risk. This device poses a little threat to the patient. It's like class 3 will be it's threat for your life itself. So class 1 medical devices, which are the class 1 medical devices? Class 1 medical devices present minimal potential harm to the user. These devices are typically simple in design, manufacture, and have a history of safe use. Examples you can take: toothbrushes, bandages, gloves, etc. Just take a toothbrush. What harm it can make to you? Until unless we are intentionally hurting ourselves, nothing will happen from a toothbrush. So this is a low risk medical device. Then class 2 medical devices may cause non-serious or temporary injury or discomfort to the patient or user. Examples are blood pressure meters, ventilators, surgical masks, X-ray machines, etc. So you take a blood pressure meter. What harm it may do? If a blood pressure meter is not functioning properly, something happened, it's not calibrated properly. Because of the reading, we are taking some medicines. What will happen? It may cause some injury to our body. So this is classified as a blood pressure meter is a class 2. And what is class 3? Class 3 medical devices usually support or sustain human life. These are of substantial importance in preventing impairment of human health or present a potential unreasonable risk or illness or injury to the patient. So examples are heart pacemakers, defibrillators, orthopedic implant, etc. So heart pacemaker is implant when your heart is not functioning properly. It will be connected with your heart and it will give the rhythm back to your heart. Defibrillator, when your heart stops functioning, they will give high voltage shock in your chest. And then if you take orthopedic implants, it is vary from dental implant, spinal implants, hip joint, knee joint, artificial intelligence. These are all very much a risk for the human. So these medical devices are classified into class 3 medical devices. So now we are coming into our main section. What are the design stages of medical devices? This picture illustrates a full life cycle of a medical device design. First, we are getting an idea to do a medical device. Then that idea modified into technical specifications. Then we are doing system engineering. Then we are developing the mechanical engineers, electronics engineers, and everyone is working on developing that. Then it becomes we are making a prototype. We are testing that one. If everything is okay, we are getting confident. We are going for mold making for plastic designing and electrical components we are buying, and we are fitting it. Then at the parallelly, we are working with the regulatory bodies to get certifications to prove that our medical device is safe to use with humankind. We are making sample parts like pilot production, golden samples we are making. Then it's going for manufacturing. Then finally, it's getting launched. So this full cycle, in the next slides, I'm going to explain you each and every cycle. Where and all, what and all we are doing, where and all we are doing. In the back of your mind, you can just check where you can fit, what are the opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities in medical device design for all the department people and everything. If you see in the top, I put like concept development, then design engineering, verification and validation, design transfer, manufacturing process, and product launch. For each topic, I created a slide. When we are going through, I'll be highlighting in which slide we are there. First is a concept development. Concept development, the first thing is we have to get some idea. When we decided or getting an idea to do a medical device, its first stage will be voice of customer. Here, medical device, who is the customer, the patient, and the physician, doctors only. So we are interviewing the physicians and pharma people, nurses, and getting the inputs, how they would like to have a device, which device will be good and how it should be. The doctor may be telling that it should be easy to handle. The knobs should be very nice to see. Like that, they will be telling like verbally they will tell something. And our people, our R&D people will be converting that into technical specification so that we can make actual things. At the same time, we'll be doing market research on this requirement and how it will be, what are the things they are requiring. If the same kind of devices are available in the market, we will, from the competitor, we will collect all the products and we will be checking which product is, what is the plus points and what is the minus points, and the other competitors product, which and all good one, which and all not good. So from that, we will be getting all the analysis. This is called a benchmarking. We'll be getting inputs from the competitors' products also. Then once everything is set, we are getting input. We got the technical specification, everything. So we are going to make a proof of concept. Before going into detailed design, we'll be doing a proof of concept. Proof of concept will not be looking like as a real one, exactly the working one. We can do a proof of concept in breadboard. For electrical and electronics things, we are having breadboard. In the breadboard we can do. And see in this picture, we are having a carton box. In the carton box, we made this hand. So this, we are going to prove that our concept is working with the management, or to get a budget or something, or getting ourselves confident and demonstrate to all of our stakeholders. We are making this proof of concept thing. Then once this proof of concept is okay, we are going for concept development. Concept development means a device style, how and all it can be. Like we will be making concept design like 5, 6, or 7, n number of designs will be doing, and we will be selecting, filtering out 1 or 2 concepts. From the 1 or 2 concepts, any one concept will be getting selected, finalized, it will be fine-tuned. And then we are going for industrial design. Industrial design, styling, ergonomics. See in this, these are the concept development. And this is the industrial. Industrial design means how stylish it should be, what are the curves should be there, the aesthetic look, the colors, how a mechanism should be, how it's going to look alike, and everything will be making. Sometimes we may have a 3D printed thing also for the industrial design. Industrial design, nothing but the cover, the look, aesthetics, that only. So once this concept and everything is getting selected and we have done our ID designing and everything, we are moving to the next stage, design engineering. In the design engineering, with the technical details, we'll be having mechanical requirement, electrical requirement, electronics requirement, software requirement, everything will be written. And from that, we will be making 3D modeling of the device. And from the 3D modeling, we'll be having the detailed design, how exactly the product will be looking like. And we'll be having the system architecture design, PCB designing, embedded designing, everything we'll be doing. Then we'll be doing the, with this everything, we'll be doing a rapid prototype. Rapid prototype is not the actual product. It's not a functioning product, but we can see from that, we can see how end product will be looking like, exactly how, but we cannot, all the functions will not be there, but we can just see how end product, the final product will be looking like. And we can do some testings also with using this product prototype, rapid prototype. We can assemble all of our PCB and electronics and cooling system and everything. And we can open, close, and whatever we want to do, we can do everything. At the same time, the people will be working on the software and the embedded system also. These are all parallel work will be going on. Then we will be starting our labeling design and packaging design also. In medical devices, labeling is very important thing, because it's only communicating with the end user. So labeling design is a very important thing. Then we'll be doing the packaging design also, how a package should be there, how it's going to get sterilized, everything will be doing the detailed design. So this is the design engineering. We almost like 60% we will design everything and everything will be ready. With this, we'll be going into this verification and the validation phase. The verification and validation phase, there are a lot of testing and thing we'll be doing. Basically, verification is what are our design specifications telling, output is coming properly. If both are matching, it's verification. Both are testing, it's verification. Validation is the end use. If the product is satisfying the intended purpose, that is called a validation. So in the verification, we'll be doing like computer aided analysis in the mechanical side, plastic for flow and CAE analysis, everything we'll be doing. And we will be getting functional prototypes. With that, we'll be testing the product, how it's going to function and everything. Still, it's not a final product, but we'll be getting a functional prototype, and we'll be assembling all of our products and everything, and we'll be checking whether everything is okay or not okay, what are the improvements are we are going to do. Mechanical testing like drop test, there are a lot of tests are there, drop test, corrosion testing, and environmental test like thermal testing, thermal shock, and electrical electronics engineering tests will be there. System testing will be doing. Bio testing means biocompatibility, toxicology testings we'll be doing, and we will be checking our sterilization process also. And we'll be doing this. You must be knowing this ingress testing. This IP testing will be doing like spraying water in all directions, everything. You must be knowing everything. There are a lot of testings we'll be doing for pure electrical and electronics software devices. We'll be doing black box testing as a user. And if with the full knowledge, we'll be doing the white box testing and the impact testing for mechanical engineering, These all kind of tests we'll be doing in the verification, validation. These feedbacks will go back to the design engineering. And what are the design engineering we'll be touching always until manufacturing. We'll be touching the design engineering for design improvements we'll be doing. Once these tests are over, next one is the design transfer. So up to now, we are having all of our 3D model is okay, and we are having our PCB board. This embedded system is there, system architecture, everything is okay. So now we are going to send this for manufacturing. So between R&D, research and development, and manufacturing, there is one stage is there that is called a design transfer. Design transfer, what we are doing, R&D department is different, and the stakeholders are different. And the production department, manufacturing department is totally different. So what are the things we have did? All the specifications we have to document. Like if you're going to manufacture a plastic product, how what is the dimensions of the plastic product, what is this material, and then how we are going to assemble. All of these things we have to document. This is called device master record in medical device terminology in US. If you go to Europe, they are calling it as technical dossier. So these documents will be creating for, if you give this DHF or technical dossier, you are able to manufacture a device. Like that, we will document all the manufacturing related specifications. At the same time, we will be another thing, whatever we designed, you cannot manufacture. Of course, we can manufacture, but it will be higher cost. So we'll be checking whether it is manufacturable with the optimum cost, and we'll be redesigning that. When you are speaking with the manufacturer or something, only you'll come to realize that, okay, this issue is there, we have to modify this like that. So if possible, we'll be modifying our design. So this designing is called design for manufacturer. And then we have to look for serviceability. Serviceability means you don't want to open apart all the parts of a device to correct one simple thing. There should be one window. Within that, it should be accessible. For example, another thing is, if you are creating you are designing a new type of screw, no screwdriver can open that in the world. Only your screwdriver, whatever you designed, that only can open, means that is unnecessary thing. So for that, we have to make the screw standardized screwdriver. So this kind of serviceability we are making sure, that is called design for serviceability. And design for assembly also is there. So it should be easy to assemble. Whatever we are designing, it should be easy to assemble. This for design for, I think somebody is, some screen I can see somebody is marking something. So, so these are all called this design for manufacture, design for serviceability, design for assembly. These kind of things are called design for excellence, DFX they will call. At the same time, the regulatory affairs people will be working on the getting regulatory certifications also. Then manufacturing team will be working on setting up the manufacturing plan, manufacturing line. Whether are they going to make a new manufacturing line, or they are going to modify the existing production line. They'll be setting up, and they will be try running that, how they are going to manufacture and everything. This all the kind of thing, the supply chain development also will be there. Everything will be done in the design transfer. And then next one is manufacturing process. So now we are going to do this mass production. So before that, in medical devices, there is a regulation is there. Like whatever software you're using, you have to validate that. Even though it is already validated by the manufacturer and it's came into the market, again, you have to check yourself, you have to validate yourself whether that software is fulfilling the intended purpose. So this is called the computer system validation. Like that, what are the equipments you are going to use and the product, process, everything you have to validate. This they are calling in a term called IQ, OQ, PQ. IQ is installation qualification, like whether if you take a software, whether it is getting installed as per the manufacturer instructions and working properly. This is installation qualification. Operational qualification is whether it is the installed software is working as per the as per intended operational thing. If you open a file, it should open. If you close that software, it should close. These kind of things are checked for operational qualification. Then performance qualification. If you want to print something, it should print. If you design in a mechanical testing thing, if you are designing a 1 kilogram cube, if you manufacture using that the 3D modeling, it should also weight 1 kilogram. Like that, it's fulfilling is called performance qualification. So this is IQ, OQ, PQ. For your understanding, I told this in a simplified way, but actually this itself open a lot of opportunities are there. These people are called as quality assurance people or this process engineers. So we have to do this IQ, OQ people. And then we have done this mold, mold came for us and we have to set the mold. Mold validation we'll be doing. Once all the manufacturing line, assembly line and everything is set up, we'll be doing a batch production. We'll be manufacturing like 100 or 200 devices, and we'll be checking whether everything is going good and everything. At the same time, if we are getting the regulatory affairs clearance, we are ready to launch the product. So we are doing this production ramp up, mass production. So before going to the mass production, we have to give proper training to the manufacturing people. So that is a different line altogether. So we have to give the training how to assemble, if something happened, how to correct it, what are they design, how they have designed, everything we have to give a proper training to the people, and everything is ready. We can go for mass production of this device. So now we reached a golden moment, that is product launch. So this, I think Jiva, somebody did something here in the screen. Can you clear that?
I will try, sir. I will try, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So now we came into the big thing. It's a new product launch. It's a market launch. So we already decided about the supply chain and everything. Supply chain is the full cycle from the manufacturer or the salespeople, how it is getting transported to a warehouse, storage in each and every country or somewhere. From there, we'll be shipping that through flight or cargo or something. Then it will reach the distribution center. Then through truck or something, it will be going to the hospital, retailer, or individual people. Yeah. So, so once you launch the product, this total design and R&D perspective, the total design will be transferred to the sustenance engineering people. So until you are doing a new product only, it will be in R&D. So in sustenance engineering also, all are the same qualified people will be there, mechanical, electronics, communication, these people will be there. But they will not do any new product design, the sustenance engineering people. They will be taking care of the current production, current products. If from assembly line or manufacturing line, if some issue is coming, how to solve that. If something is getting damaged in the product design, how to correct it. So that kind of product modification and product improvement, continuous improvement will be done by the sustenance engineering people. So this is all about this product launch. So from concept development, design engineering, verification, validation, design transfer, manufacturing process, product launch, we came. This is the full cycle of design stages of medical devices. Next, we can see facets of medical device design. So like a diamond, there are a lot of phases will be there. Like mechanical, electrical, electronics, communication. A lot of people will be part of this medical device design. I have mentioned very few departments only, like embedded software, electrical electronics, biotechnology, mechanical, sterilization, clinical. Other than this, we are having like quality, regulatory affairs, marketing, supply chain management. There are a lot of people are there, but I mentioned only few sections here, few departments are here. If you see in the top, mechanical, electrical and electronics, biotechnology, clinical, sterilization, software. So we will see these departments' contribution in a medical device design. So not only this, I just covered what and all I can do. Other than this, there are a lot of things will be there. So in medical devices, in mechanical engineering medical devices, mechanical engineers will be doing this 3D CAD modeling, conceptual design, 2D manufacturing, drawing, like that things. And then they are working in prototype, 3D design engineering, functional design, design for manufacturability, 3D printing, then manufacturing also. This mechanical engineers will be working, production, injection molding, CNC machining, sheet metal designing, plastic part designing, silicon plastics molds. In product, their marketing solution, they'll be giving this graphical design, will be doing for product promotion also, they'll be doing. Sometimes they'll be working on the labeling design, packaging design, they'll be working. And next one is electrical and electronics. Of course, I just covered a few things here. PCB designing. So far, each and every product, they'll be doing a dedicated PCB designing. It's a 1 layer, 2 layer, 6 layers, 8 layers, like that. Nowadays, there are a lot of complicated PCB designings are there. Then they'll be doing this hardware design and a component selection, like make or buy decision they'll be doing. Are they going to make their own component, and they're going to buy from the off-the-shelf products like that? And embedded design, they'll be doing. Embedded is like a, it's like microcontroller kind of thing. They'll be doing. If you see in this picture itself, just illustrated, what are the things are there. We are just speaking simply, but it's very much complicated. So for wire harness, this engineer having a board in that he's doing this wire harness. So all of these wires will be going into this simple device only. It's a patient monitoring device. It will go into that. And then we are having biotechnology. Biotechnology is again, it's a very well growing market in this nowadays on the market trend. So in the biotechnology, what are things they are doing? Toxicology they will do, bioburden they will do, and biocompatibility. Biocompatibility is like we are going to select a plastic or some metal, whether this metal is going to be placed on your body surface, or it will be communicating with externally, it will be communicating, or it's implanted into your body. Like if you are putting on your surface, whether it will be touching your skin or muscle like that. And then if it is communicating, it will be in blood path, circulating blood, it's like that. So again, it will be touching or in your body limited time, like within 24 hours. or more than 24 hours to 30 days will it be, or it will be permanently placed. According to this, based on this, you have to select your material. So this is just an example of how a biocompatibility um, they are doing. And then biomedical sensors. Biomedical sensor is itself a very big topic. We can have a one-day workshop on that. So biomedical sensors basically sensing our body physical signals like body pressure, motion, tactile vibration, or thermal signals like if our body is having fever or it is cold, or electrophysiological signals like brain wave, cardiac activity, muscle movement, everything it will be sensing. We are having ECG, EEG, EMG, thermo sensing and everything. Once when either it is sensing your this physical sensing, it will be sending, it will be keep on sending this data to your physician for making any decision or something, hospital, like kind of thing. So this is biomedical sensors. So next one is clinical, pharma clinical thing. Pharma clinical thing, they also will be working from the scratch of the medical device design. Once the idea is generated, mechanical, electrical, communication engineers will be working in the other side in the R&D. At the same time, this clinical pharma physicians will be working in the R&D phase. In vitro testing they'll be doing. In vitro means lab studies. Within the lab, they'll be studying the device or something. Next one is they'll be doing in vivo testing. In vivo testing means they'll be testing on an animal. Our device itself, they'll be testing on animals. At the same time, they'll be doing virtual testing also, like with computer modeling. Then once the product is ready, we cannot launch that to the human use or public use. We have to get this clearance. We have to prove that the device is safe to use. So for that, we will be doing a clinical trials. It's called a clinical development or something. We will be actually doing that in humans. This is called a clinical trials. There are 3 phases will be there before launching the product. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Clinical trials will be continually taking the data from the clinical trials, and we'll be improving our thing. Once we are proving in the clinical trials, we are proving according to the already the regulatory bodies classified our device. According to that, the clinical trial will be also intensive. For class 3 devices, it will be very much intensive. We have to prove that our product is safe on human. Then only they can give the license or regulatory clearance to market our product or drug. You can see, you might have read about this for this pandemic situation, vaccinations, the COVID-19 vaccinations. Normally, the drug will be taking like 8 to 10 years on clinical trials itself. We have to study thoroughly, then only we can give a clearance. But on urgent basis, they have given clearance for these drugs, whatever vaccinations we are doing. So that is called clinical trials. So once the product is in the market, when hospitals, patients, everybody is started to use, then also we'll be doing the clinical trial. That's clinical trial is phase 4 clinical trial. We'll be continually monitoring that. So this also a part of clinical and pharma department's work. Then sterilization. The sterilization is all medical devices how to get sterilized before it gets used or packed. So the sterilization basically removes, kills, or deactivates all form of life on that. So there are different kind of sterilization methods are there. Commonly, you'll be using sterilization by radiation, sterilization by ethylene oxide, and dry heat, or gaseous chemicals you'll be using. So this, if you see here, these are the symbols normally you'll be using. On the packaging, if you check any medical device package, this will be shown whether it is getting sterilized or not. If after sterilizing also, some of the germs or bacteria will be there, microorganisms will be there. So whether it will be good for human or not, that is called the toxicology, bioburden testing they'll be doing in clinical thing. Another one is this software designing, software firmware designing. Nowadays, without software, no medical device or any device is not there. So I don't want to explain you everything in the software. Everybody knows there are a lot of softwares involved in all the devices. Two interesting things I'm going to discuss in the software thing. One is software as a medical device that is trending now. Another one is Internet of Medical Things. So which one they are calling as software as medical device? Software driving or influencing the use of a medical device. Medical device accessory softwares, software independent of any other device, medical device embedded software. So if you take a blood glucose meter, you're having a software. If you take a blood pressure meter, you're having a software. Nowadays, some doctors are using to connect with the patients. Clinic thing, kind of thing they are doing, that also a software. So this is now trending, like software as a medical device is trending. The another thing is Internet of Medical Things. Internet of Medical Things, like we already seen, we'll be having this biomedical sensors on your body, like a watch or a smart band or some other devices embedded into your thing. If you take this pacemaker also, it will be connected to internet. So this will be connected to a medical server, very secured medical server. From this medical server, either your doctor or a hospital can access your data. This is useful for any emergency situation or continuously monitoring your health. If you're having something chronic diseases, if you're having, it can be from your mobile phone or laptop, from anything. Even nowadays, they are doing surgery also through this using robots and this Internet of Medical Things. A doctor is connecting from US to an Indian hospital, and he is guiding, and he is actually operating this medical robots to do a surgery. He don't want to fly all the way here and do this surgery and everything. So this everything is can possible now. So everything will be there in the cloud. So what are the new technologies coming? We are using in Internet of Medical Things. So this is all about facets of medical devices, and then design control of medical devices. As I told you, medical devices is playing with human life. So all the governments are very much serious about controlling the medical devices. Otherwise, it may cause problem. So there are a lot of controls are there, from requirement, standards, rules, regulations, law, everything will be there. So there are, I'm categorized into three things. One is product standard. Next one is regulatory requirements. Third one is management standards. First, what is product standardization? As I told you already, for servicing, if everybody is using different screws, then the service engineer has to carry like hundreds of screwdrivers to service. So they make a screw and a screwdriver standardized, so it can be useful anywhere in the world. If you, I'm going to explain this with a simple thing like a plug and socket. If we go to US and Japan, the plug and socket will be like this. If you come to India, the plug and socket will be like this. At least this is standardized inside our country, so that anywhere you can go to go in India, whether it is in Kanyakumari or in Kashmir, everywhere you go, everywhere you'll be using the same kind of plug and socket. But if you are going to US and Japan, you have to have a converter or some kind of thing. Just you imagine, if you can more standardize, what will happen? It will be easy for everyone. This is a good example, is our USB, our mobile phone USB plug and socket. So anywhere you go around the world, you can use this. You can use this USB plug and socket. It will be very convenient. So this is the importance of your product standardization. So this international standard organization having some product standards, like if you take IEC 60601, this is for electrical medical electrical equipment. If you follow this, somebody, if they are following this anywhere in the world, the product will be same product standards will be there. If you take this ISO 15223, the symbols used in medical devices will be same everywhere. There will be no confusion. So this will be easy for marketing and easy for everything. So for that, they are having this product standards. Next one is regulatory requirements. See, the governments, the world governments, they want to make sure that their citizens are safe. For that, they are controlling the medical device manufacturers to follow some rules. So they made some framework. So if you want to market something in USA, you have to follow this FDA, Food and Drug Administration's regulations. If it is in Europe, you have to follow EU MDR, this European Medical Device Regulations. In India, it's the CDSCO. So these are all not standards, but this is giving a framework. If you are going to design something, you have to follow these six things. If you are following properly, the product will come in a good position. It will be safe to use. That is a basic idea. So if you are not following something, if you are cheating them, means what are the enforcement powers of the regulatory bodies? They can issue a warning letter. It's a basic thing. It's a minimal thing. Then they can recall the devices from the market. Forcefully, they can recall, and civil money penalties they can put, millions of money spending on this, and then criminal actions they can take. Criminal action against a company or an individual. If you are designing something, you are the responsible person, means the governments, the regulatory bodies can take a criminal action against you for violation of the law, for past practices. So of course, whatever you have designed, you are having a lot of responsibility. It's a very regulated domain. And finally, we are having this management standards. We are having a quality system established like ISO 9000. Here we are having 13485, ISO 13485 for medical device quality management system. 14971, it's for risk management. So like that we are having. What is this? Actually, if you are having a company, they'll be having a policy on the top. For why they are having this company, they will tell in that. It's a policy manual. It will be explaining. We are going to serve these people like that. They'll be giving something. On the line of this one, they are having all procedures for each and every department, for mechanical, for electrical, for regulatory affairs, for R&D, whatever you are having, for all the things, they are having a procedure. If you want to design some electrical electronics equipment, there will be some procedures, standard operating procedures they'll be giving. In that, they'll be clearly defining who are the responsibility, who will do, when they will do, where they will do, like that. Then these procedures are like mothers, the child will be, for each procedure will be having a work instruction or guidelines. So just you told that you're going to design something like this, how you are going to do, line by line, they'll be giving this step-by-step thing, how to do, what to do, this kind of thing. Then records and forms. These are all the objective evidence. When some audit is coming to check whether you are following these standards, you have to submit this records and forms like proof, objective evidence you have to set. Okay, so now recap. What are the things we have seen up to now? In a medical device design and development, we are having design control. The design control, we are having product standard, regulatory requirements, management standards. I think you can recall these things. We have seen this. And facets, mechanical, electrical, electronics, biotechnology, clinical trials, sterilization, software. And then design stages, we are having starting from concept development, design engineering, verification, validation, manufacturing, finally launching the product. Great. But with a successful product launch, our responsibility will not be over. After that only, the designer's responsibility will be more. The company's, the manufacturer's responsibility will be more. What is that? So we have to do continuously, we have to monitor the product's performance. It's called post-market surveillance. So in the post-market surveillance, what we are doing, we are getting customer feedback, some events, some what happened and everything. This is put as a complaint. Then if it is a reportable, it will be coming to reportable. With this, it will again go to, we have to either we will be doing the product improvements or some changes we have to do, we'll be doing. If this PMS, if this product is doing good in some market, we can launch in the another market. But until this product is getting retired or obsoleted, it will be monitored. And there are a lot of reports will be generated out of that. This government agencies will be keenly looking into that, like a clinical evaluation report, risk management report, post-market clinical follow-up, performance evaluation report, periodic safety update report, field safety corrective actions. Lot of data will be continuously going, and all the agencies and the manufacturers will be continuously monitoring the medical device. It's not a very easy thing. It's a very serious designing, you must be knowing. And okay, so we will be seeing some real-time stories. So first real-time story, a smartwatch saves man's life who fell from bike. Actually, this person living in US, he went in cycling on a mount, but suddenly he had a fall on the rock, but nobody noticed he is falling. He is unconscious. He fell down and he's unconscious. He was unconscious. Nobody noticed him. But within a minute later, one ambulance came and took him to a medical center, and he is doing good. How it's possible? Nobody noticed, but he is in a medical facility now. What happened? He was using a smartwatch. The smartwatch is having a function that it will activate emergency feature. When, if it is hard fall and there is no movement for 60 seconds, it will automatically call ambulance service. So you can see this, what is the message it sent, and how this is a watch, and in the Google Maps where he fell, everything is there. So this person got saved. It's a very good thing. So next real-time story is like, see, you see one medical company called Omron. They are making blood pressure meters. So they were making a blood pressure meter and EKG beta testing device. It will be continuously monitoring your blood pressure and your electrocardiogram data analyzing. They were creating, they are doing an R&D. So basically what will happen in R&D, when we are doing, we'll be getting some prototype, functional prototype. We will be checking within our company only. We don't want to go one or two people. So like that, they recruited, they got signed up, this person also, he was working in that company. And that's beta testing device, the prototype testing machine he has done. And he signed up for that, and he was checking the data, whatever he's getting, that's not correct. So he told, what is this here? This prototype is not working properly. What happened like that? But again, okay, for some reason, he went to the doctor and he shown everything, and doctor was diagnosing him. God's grace, he was having ununiform heartbeat. He may end up in a stroke in a hospital. Because of this device or something, he got saved. So that one only they are showing here. I don't know whether you can see. Okay, let's show. Jiva, just tell me whether you can hear this sound or not. Huh?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Is it okay? Sound is coming?
No, sir. No, sir.
Was it?
No sound, sir.
No sound. Okay. I think I'll stop share and I'll connect again. Huh?
Yeah.
So share. Yeah, share sound. Share again.
And
Now,
I'm part
okay.
of the sales team.
Hi,
Okay,
sir.
My name is Tim Sheehan. I work for Omron Healthcare, and I'm part of the sales team. Several years ago, I perceived my health as being good. Then Omron was in development of a new product called Omron Complete. It's the first combined blood pressure and EKG device, and I was asked in the office to participate in the beta testing. Sit there in my office, I'd do it 10, 15 times a day, and looking at the numbers, basically said, this doesn't work. All finished. In reality, it did. It was giving correct information. I needed to act on it, and eventually, with prodding, I did, and ended up in the hospital. This is the view from the backside of my heart. It was discovered that I had AFib, which is an irregular heartbeat and can cause stroke. So it's just like hypertension. It's the silent killer. You don't know unless you're tested.
You could go to your doctor today and your blood pressure could be normal. That snapshot in time could be perfect. But if you were taking readings once a week for the rest of the year, over time, you would find that that blood pressure should be relatively steady. But if suddenly it moves, now you have a data point. But putting a blood pressure cuff on your arm and monitoring your blood pressure is a whole new habit. We have to help so that it's a simple addition to their lifestyle. So recently, we added a wristwatch blood pressure monitor. In our app, Omron Connect, we offer coaching or nudges. So if the app sees that your blood pressure is going up and you haven't been too active, maybe we give you a nudge. Hey, why don't you add a 20-minute walk?
It'll ask, did you have coffee? Did you smoke a cigarette prior to this measurement? Try to avoid that if possible. So once I have that measurement done, I'll take a look at it. It automatically saves into the cloud. I can format the reports and I can email it to my physician. Save it as a PDF file. Before my event.
Yep. So that's it. It's saved this. And then, so the final slide, we can show what are the top medical device companies where you can work. Yeah, because of this this session, if some of you can join into medical device domain, I'll be very happy. Let's see. So this is a chart from 2020. Medtronic, Johnson & Johnson, Thermo Fisher, Abbott, GE Healthcare, Philips Healthcare. So Siemens, BD, Cardinal Health. So these are the big companies. There are a lot of companies, a lot of other companies in Chennai itself. There are a lot of other companies out there in Coimbatore. We are having very small companies, medical device companies, but these are the big medical device companies. A few of them we are from as at Ascentel, we are supporting to them also. Yep. So I hope you find this session interesting. So Jiva, over to you.
Good, sir. Yeah, Dhanam.
Thank you, sir. Students, any doubts you may ask?
Sir?
Yep.
Sir, I'm Amrita Sri from first year EC department, sir.
Yeah, Amrita.
First of all, thank you, sir. This webinar was very informative.
Thank you.
Sir, and my question is, what are the basic skills that we require in order to develop a basic medical device, sir?
Okay, see, I'll be always answering to this. You should have a learning skill. You're always ready to learn. and your attitude should be good. So everybody is not born as by birth. Though nobody is medical device designer. If you take me, I was a toy designer, then consumer goods like that only. So you're ready to learn. You can learn anything. Okay. In a technical side, you should be good in your studies. Whatever department you are doing, you should know basics. I'm not talking about all theories and all, theorem and all. Basics should be very good, all basics. And then any department can learn basics of software. Nowadays, we need software. So you don't have to be an architect. Just try to learn some software. It will be very much helpful for you. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amrita Shri. Anybody else? Anybody else?
You can ask any questions. Okay.
So chat box, I think some students have questions. So how to reduce the cost of our project?
Yeah. So as I told you in the session, we can manufacture anything. Okay. What kind of design, any complicated design we can manufacture. But we have to always look for manufacturability in our design. It should be easily manufactured with a simple machine. So this is for design for manufacturing. So like that, the design for manufacturing, design for serviceability, the DFX we are calling. If we are taking care of these things, plus our previous project knowledge and learnings from others will help us to make this product less cost. The other thing is nowadays the companies are making this value engineering thing. The value engineering is nothing like they will take this as a project. They will take their existing product and without affecting its functionality, they are trying to reduce the cost of that product. Like they may try to change the thickness, wall thickness or material. Instead of aluminum or something, they can go for ABS plastic like that. We can do this value engineering and reduce the cost.
So from first year ECE, Preeti, she asked, as a first year ECE, what are the projects we can do in this field, sir?
As a first year ECE, you don't have to do any projects actually. You just monitor the market trend around you. Not only medical devices, you just take automobile, aerospace. You will come to know about the trends. So you can equip yourself with the trends. The final year students can look for these job descriptions. You can just browse Google and just to see your dream job, like electrical engineer, electrical system engineer, like that. Just to go through their JD. What are the JD they are requiring from the company? Naukri or something I'm talking about. There will be a job description will be there. The job description they'll be telling what are the things, the qualifications they are looking for. Just think about yourself. Put you in the shoes and try to equip yourself with that requirements. If you don't know something, just try to learn that one. If you're asking something, think that do you know whether you can pass this? Are you qualified for this job description? If you are not qualified, learn and qualify yourself.
Any questions?
Anytime you can contact through Jiva, I'll be available. Just give the questions to Jiva. I can try to answer you post this session also.
Yes, thank you, sir. Yeah, Dana.
Thank you, students. First of all, I'm really sorry there are so many disturbances in between, sir. Sorry, sir. And thank you so much for making the session a very useful one. So many opportunities are available, but the thing is we are not aware of it. So you made it clear and discussed so many things about job opportunities in medical device and development. It is really a wonderful, interesting and useful session, sir. So thank you so much, sir. And I would like to thank our head of the department ECE, Dr. Regina Parvin ma'am, and faculty coordinator, Mr. Jiva sir, for arranging such an amazing webinar for us. And finally, I thank all the students for your active and attentive participation. Thank you all.
Thank you, students. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.